could hear movement throughout the house. I knew Mom was still sleeping, so it had to be Natsu. I finished the last page and closed the book. The clock read 7:45 a.m. I had been up since 6. My body was still used to waking up early for school. Seems Natsu was experiencing the same thing. It felt strange to wake up and have nothing to do. "Hey, are you up yet?" Natsu whispered through my door. I got up and opened it. She looked tired and awake at the same time. "Can't sleep? It's so annoying. No school for 3 whole months. Why does my body hate sleep?" "You're being dramatic." "I'm not. I should be sleeping in. Not walking around the house at 7 a.m. trying to find something to do." I sighed. "Do you want breakfast?" This cheered her up. "Yes please," she smiled brightly. We headed downstairs for breakfast. I started to smell food and looked back at Natsu confused. She shrugged her shoulders. There was no one in the kitchen when we got there. I noticed the open window and walked over to it. The smell was coming from next door. I could see Mrs. Tsukishima moving around in her kitchen. "Looks like we aren't the only early risers," Natsu said from behind me. Mrs. Tsukishima waved when she saw us. We waved back. "So, what do you want for breakfast?" My face felt warm from the sun shining through my bedroom window. I could smell breakfast. The struggle between staying in bed and getting up was won by my grumbling stomach. Someone slept in. Yeah, I don't think I realized how tired I was till I laid down. Mom walked over and sat a plate of food in front of me. "Thanks." She smiled, turning to get her own plate. I waited for her to sit before eating. I always forget how tiring moving is. The last time I moved was. She twisted her mouth trying to remember. "It had to be after I found out I was pregnant with you." "This is the first time we've moved since you were born," she smiled thoughtfully. I poured orange juice from the pitcher in the middle of the table into my cup. "Is there a lot left to do?" "The only things left to do are decorating. You know, hanging up pictures and arranging things the way I like. After that it's just cleaning." "Okay, I need to take those books back to the library." I pointed to the coffee table. "We can get started after breakfast." I was finishing the 4th chapter of the other book I had borrowed from the library. I heard the slide of a door and looked up. Mrs. Tsukishima was stepping gingerly through the door with a stack of boxes. "Need some help?" I got up and walked over to the gate that separates our houses. "That would be great, thanks." I took half the stack and followed her around the side of the house. She plopped the stack down next to her garbage bins. I sat mine next to hers. "Is there more?" "Yes. But Kay is bringing them." I raised my eyes at her. "My son." "Oh, right. Well, if he needs help I'll be in my hammock. I'll be sure to tell him." "Thanks again." "Sure." I returned to my book. I was about to head out the door with the boxes when I heard Mom talking. I paused listening for a response. It was his voice I heard. "I'll be sure to tell him." "Thanks again." "Sure." I backed away from the door. Sitting the boxes on the chair closest to me. I tried to get myself together. Taking a deep breath, I reminded myself that I was going to give Mom's fresh start thing a try. I'll just introduce myself and accept if he offers to help. "So you gonna take him up on his offer?" Mom was standing in the doorway. I turned to look at her. "Yes." A surprised look came on her face. Then she smiled. "Good." Mom stepped all the way inside to make room for me to leave. I picked up the stack and headed out the door. I sat on my hammock trying to picture what he would look like based on his mom's features. Just then another stack of boxes started coming through the door. I stood, ready to help. His blonde hair was identical to hers. He was taller than her. His face, though, was hidden behind the boxes. "Need some help?" I smiled to myself as I realized I'd just said the same thing to his mom. "Sure." His voice was a bit strained. "I didn't think you'd be so tall." Just like before, I took half the stack. "Yeah, people always think that when they meet my mom first." He had already turned and started walking before I could get a chance to see his face. "Do they say the opposite if they meet you first?" He was slender but not skinny. "If that makes sense." "Not usually, but I can tell that's probably what they're thinking." He stacked his boxes on top of hers. And I finally got to see his face. I couldn't read the look on his face as he stared up at me. My palms started to sweat. Once again I reminded myself to stay calm. "You can sit those here." I pointed to the smaller pile next to mine. "Right." He smiled but still didn't move. K, right? It surprised me that he knew my name. Yeah. Then I remembered that he'd already met Mom. I also realized that I had no clue what his name was. Shoyo. What? He smiled again. My name. It's Shoyo. Right. Hi. He chuckled then. Hi. Finally he sat the boxes down. Anything else? Like what? Like more boxes or bags of trash? You know, that sort of thing. Duh. K. Obviously he meant the boxes. There are a few bags of trash but that's it. Okay. He started back around the house. I followed him, still trying to stay calm. Sadly, this was the most conversation I've had with a boy since everything had happened. Your old one? Wait, what? Sorry. I didn't hear the first part. I asked, how do you like this house compared to your old one? Seriously, K. Focus. Oh, it's okay, I guess. Is it bigger? The old one? Yeah, only a little. This one has a bigger kitchen though. We stopped in front of the door. He looked at me expectantly. There you are. His sister came out the door. My mom following behind her. Mom sent me to find you. Does she need me right now? No, she was just wondering where you were. Tell her I'll be back after I finish helping with the trash. She looked between us. It shouldn't take that long since there are two of us. If you need to go, it's fine. I can handle the trash. He looked back at me. I want to stay. She smiled then. And help. He turned back to her. Right, she nodded. I'm Natsu, by the way. K. Well, I guess I'll go tell Mom you'll be home soon. She waved to my mom and started toward the gate. My mom's phone rang from inside. Excuse me. She stepped inside to answer it. So, trash? Yeah. Follow me. I reached inside and grabbed the trash bags beside the door. I gave him the first two and I took the last two. What are you doing after this? I need to go to the library. I have overdue books. He stopped in his tracks. No way. He can't be the book thief. You moved from across town, right? Yeah. Why? Did you check those books out at the library on Mathis Street? I think so. Unfortunately, yes. We are still sharing our stock with the library across town. No way.